You ever wondered why the Democrats destroy all the municipalities that they're in charge of and the states that they're in charge of? Illinois, California, New Jersey, New York. Well, let me tell you how the Democrats operate. When someone runs under the banner of the party of criminality, the first thing they do is go to the union bosses. Doesn't matter where they are, public works projects, they go to law enforcement unions, they go to the teachers unions, and they promise these union bosses, if they get their constituents to vote for them, that they're going to increase their salaries, give them excellent pensions, et cetera, et cetera. It sounds pretty good, doesn't it? It's nothing but bribery. As soon as they get in power, the first thing they do is they raise corporate taxes, taxes on the businesses, property taxes, and then any other form of revenue that they can raise. Why? Because government has no money and they have to fulfill all these asinine promises that they made, which are unsustainable. So what happens eventually? You have a mass exodus. Corporations move out, businesses move out, the people move out, and what do? You destroy your tax base. Your tax base becomes much smaller for the people that can't leave. That increases unemployment, especially in the youth, like it did in Baltimore, where it went from 10% to about 60% youth unemployment, and they've been in charge of Baltimore for decades. So when they're in charge, and it's unsustainable now, a lot of resentment is built in the community. Why? Because law enforcement, people in the teaching profession, people in the public works sector, they continue to get paid, all the politicians. And now you have a smaller tax base that's sustaining them. And it's going to sustain them not just for that generation, the next generation, because these pensions are unsustainable. In California, I believe you have almost 30 people making over $1 million in pensions. Forget about the pensions in Jersey. Illinois is going broke. That's how the Democrats work. Now, let me tell you what the Democrats are doing currently. They're harping on the testing and the increased amount of people testing positive. Folks, when there's an epidemic and a virus comes in, if they tested at any time in the past, they would show millions of people testing positive. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to get infected, sick, and die. All it means is people were exposed to the virus. And what happens? Your immune system takes care of it. Only the people that are highly susceptible are going to be affected, where they wind up with serious illness or death. Well, guess what? That's been happening for thousands of years, and that's how your immune system gets stronger. So by doing more testing, which I'm glad to hear President Trump is cutting the testing in many of these states, all you're doing is saying, look, everybody's getting infected. No, they're not. There's no increase in illness or in death. That's a lot of nonsense. So what does Miami-Dade do? It closes the beaches for the July 4th weekend. Why? Because Miami-Dade is highly Democratic. They voted for about 40,000 more people voted for the president on the Democratic Party in the last election. So by doing that, they want to place Governor DeSantis under the microscope and say, look, this is all your fault for keeping Florida open. It's utter nonsense. This is not a pandemic. This is simply an epidemic. And they will do anything to dislodge President Trump out of office, whether it's phony impeachments, whether it's these pandemics, whether it's the rioting, the Antifa burning, et cetera, whatever they're doing, they only have one common goal. Put in mail-in balloting, see if we can steal the election, and it is a deflection from the impending treasonous charges that should be coming up on President Obama and others for what they did under their administration. Thank you.